Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back. We have September 1st here in America is when I am recording this. My name is Misty Magdalena Grace. If you're new to my channel, I'm an abundance alchemist who is the founder of the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise movement that I started back in 2020 in the midst of the pandemic. And I am going to be starting a new channel about mystical, magical, runes, tarot, all things divination. I'm going to be creating a new channel in the future. So if you're not new to my channel and you're wondering what's going on, I have had guests. I had a bunch of guests for my 5-year podcast anniversary in July, and I've been enjoying August, enjoying the summer, finalizing my divorce, going through a lot of personal changes and shifts and getting kids back to school. And I will be getting guests coming back up. September is Suicide Awareness Month, always here on my podcast. Just this year, with all of the changes and all of the shifts, have not decided to do as many podcasts just for the time being. But I promise you, I guarantee you, after eclipse season, I'm going to get more and more guests coming back. I do have a guest coming in later this week. We're going to be talking about the energies. We're going to be talking about eclipse season and all that it has been brought about. So Thursday, September 4th, be tuning in for that. Just some other quick announcements before I get into the runes reading for the week. I also have a women's retreat next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the Goddess retreats, Awakening the Goddess within here in San Diego. It's not too late to sign up. So please, if you have questions, you can always email me, info@magdalenagrace.com. You can also just go ahead and sign up. I do have a promo code though. If you want to save 33%, send me an email. The information is on this link, magdalenagrace.com, for both the women's retreat as well as the event coming up on the 14th, the Vitality Day here in Fallbrook. All about health. It's Virgo season. It's a great time to really focus on your health. Of course, we're all about health, wealth, and relationships in this space that I've created online. But again, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Email me at info@magdalenagrace. I also have an exciting return with the Women's Circle. I took a month off in August, but Women's Circle and Yoni Steam reclamation here on September 19th. Just before the second eclipse in September, we have two powerful eclipses. You're going to hear about the first one here as we are heading into the first full week of eclipse season in September. So the purpose of today, again, is to guide you into what's going on in the energies and tapping into your own intuition with my runes reading this week. Because we have a big event, I have two runes readings. This is the first through Friday, and then I'm going to be releasing a second reading for just the full moon. So we have a full moon eclipse on Sunday the 7th. And ultimately, this is big. Every September, if you look back in your own life, have you had a lot of shifts? Maybe August, September, October. This is a time, there's two eclipse seasons, of course. It's usually in the spring and one in the fall. They do shift depending on what's going on. We have a Pisces, Virgo, North Node and South Node. So hence we did have eclipses that started in the Pisces era and went into the Aries season, because there was actually also an eclipse in Aries. So not to get too technical about astrology, because I'm not an astrologer. I am, however, an alchemist who leverages the power of as above, so below, as within, so without. So as above, so below, that's how the astrologies and the energies of the universe and the planetary alignments and what's happening. You can go back to my last reading. I did talk up to today. Today, there's two planet retrograde shifts. We have Saturn going from Aries back into Pisces till February. So if you felt more emotional, if you felt just more like watery stuff, more shadowy stuff coming up, that's a huge reason. As the Saturn goes retrograde back into Pisces. We've been in Aries for the past few months. So the summer was a lot about boundaries and getting discipline about boundaries and maybe cleaning up structures and organizations around boundaries. And there might have been extra fire in your relationships. I had that for sure. Now that we're going into Pisces, it's more of a watery, more fluid. So we're going from a structure of fire to a structure of water. And fire and water technically don't really mix. So if you're feeling a little topsy-turvy, that's why. And then we also have Uranus going retrograde So there's just a lot of energy, intuitive, flowy kind of energy, darker, shadowy energy. I know there was a lot of protests today, I found out. So there's the reading's going to be interesting because we're going to reflect the energies of the week going into Friday. And then just for your own awareness, because full moons, there's a reason they call it lunatic. Full moon is where there can be a lot of energies and a lot of intensities. You know, we're made of 70% water in our bodies, 90% in our brain. So it's no wonder now that we're also going back into Pisces with Saturn retrograde, then there's extra water, and it's a Pisces eclipse. So I'll talk more about that on the reading that I'll be releasing either Thursday or Friday. But this is a time to really, really go inward more than ever. Every person I'm following, whether a psychic channel, medium, astrologer, tarot reader, they're all saying the same thing. If you're triggered by things outside of you, which I had some really big triggers this past week coming back from my trip from Mount Shasta and having my whole root chakra just like rotor-rooted while I was there, it brought up a lot of stuff, ancestral stuff, big stuff that I thankfully know how to alchemize. So it doesn't make me like sick or keep me down for too long. There's a lot of people with sickness. There's a lot of people with insomnia right now. Just so you know, it's because of the energies and all of that collective energy. If you're an empath with the protests and the different triggers of what's going on in, you know, politics and other places in the world, it can be a lot. So self-care, Virgo season is a lot about health. So maybe today, as I do the runes reading, you really want to lean into what area do you need the most help with and focus on. Specifically around, since this is Virgo energy of structure, organization, I'm proud to say I have a clean desk. One of my intentions with the Virgo new moon on August 23rd was to have a clean desk, and boom. Now I'm still in the process of organizing it. Remember, an intention, especially with the new moon, if you were paying attention to that reading, that is like 2 to 6 weeks worth of energy. And of course, leading you up to the 6 months later to the full moon. So, you know, we had the Virgo new moon. 6 months from now, it'll be the Virgo full moon. And right now we're ending Pisces full moon on Sunday, what you started 6 months ago with the Pisces new moon, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was like March 13th or something like that. I have to go back and look. So this week is preparing you for the first eclipse of the month. And eclipse season is all about massive endings, sudden shifts. You may have relationships end suddenly. You may have a sudden health diagnosis. You may have a sudden job change. You may have a sudden new beginning, and any and all of those things. And where your energy flows is where your intention goes. So the energy follows the intention that you set. And so even though, I mean, it's a holiday here in America, I believe it's also a holiday in Canada, if I'm not mistaken, you can set an intention as we do this reading. In fact, I'm going to ask you to do that. I'm going to open up the space. Again, this is a reading, not a ritual. It's simply a reading today to help you get clarity around the week ahead. Let's go ahead and take a moment to take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Get centered, feet firmly planted on the floor. Go ahead and take a nice deep inhale through the nose. Inhale to the belly. Inhale. And exhale. Let's do one more for good measure. Inhale, light, love, and peace and clarity. And exhale what no longer serves you. And then I'm going to go ahead and call in protection, call in spirit, call in the wisdom of Woden, Freya, and the runes. And I pull a past, present, future pull of the runes. I'll show you the images. Very interesting. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. This is kind of cool. It's very fascinating, actually. Okay. Interesting. Okay. And then I'm actually going to do, normally I pull like a clarifying card. Today I'm going to pull a fourth rune just because I feel like it. and see. Okay, here we go. So if you're new to the runes, I don't do any education on them. I'm just going to go right into the reading. So you can always, contact me if you have questions about the runes. These are ancient symbols. So as you look at them, like sacred geometry, take a deep breath in and see what thought, feeling, emotion, or memory comes through to you. So go ahead and inhale and look at the rune. And this is Manaz. So Manaz is about partnership. Interestingly enough, last week we had it. Today it's upright. So with the energies of this past week, what this says is you have really opened up to partnership and teamwork and trusting. So whatever that looks like, maybe you've had a deeper level of trust with someone today, maybe a deeper level of trust with your divine guidance, maybe a deeper level of trust with even just your higher self, your inner child. This is really just getting back into also personally developing yourself within trust and relationships. So you can kind of see there's runes within a rune here. Manaz is all about that personal development of self. And as you develop yourself, you have a tendency to connect with better partnerships, better relationships. So that's the energy of the beginning of the week. So you might be having a conversation. I know for me, this is apropos. I'm speaking my truth more and more. I have a big conversation today where I'm speaking my truth. I'm going to have a couple conversations on Wednesday, middle of the week, speaking of my truth, Woden's Day. So here, middle of the week energies is Gabo. Take a look at this, inhale and see what comes through as you look. Now, what I'm getting from this is it's going deeper into the sacred exchange of a relationships, really asking for what you want. Can be scary, but this says there's a good energy that will guide you in that sacred relationship. So all I can say is just come from your heart, be open, and be curious. This is actually something that I heard from one of my favorite astrologers. She said during eclipse season, do your best to not take things personally. Do your best to come from a place of curiosity. If you're feeling wounding come up, then it means you're taking it personally. And what I will tell you is if you're taking it personal, that mirror of that other person is just merely there to help you go inward. So just remember that. So all of our relationships are a reflection of us, and we want to be able to come from our heart and come from our truth. And as long as you do that, it can be a really positive experience. Now, however, it's very fascinating. After you have a sacred relationship conversation, whether it's a partner, whether it's a business partner, whether it's a family member or a friend, this is what shows up towards the end of the week. So it's a little bit of a contradiction. So I'm going to have you take a look at it first. And see what comes through. And it's fascinating because this is Ansu's reversed. So when it's upright, it's Woden's rune about communication and clear communication. It's actually when it's upright, it's a great time to write a song, write a poem, really focus on your writing your book, your social media posts. So if this is telling me is be careful. This is getting closer into the full moon and the eclipse. So there could be some misinterpretations. There could be some confusion in your communication, which is fascinating because it came after, Monday, Tuesday is again about that partnership with yourself and others and personally developing and growing stronger. Wednesday-ish is about the sacred exchange of relationship and the sacred reciprocity. And then come Friday, though, there could be some confusion in communication and clouded judgment. There could even be some deception. So I like that phrase, all that glitters is not gold. So it's not a bad rune. Remember, there's no bad or good. It's just about an awareness. Maybe something you said Monday through Thursday gets misconstrued, misheard, and or just be aware that something that you read online or something that is said to you, there may be some deception or cloudiness, confusion. So again, the more you know, the better you can be ready for something. And again, goes back to what I just said, be curious, because we're heading into the full moon weekend. We're heading into the eclipse. So you can have arguments, you can have heated energies around the full moon. That's why people end up in the hospital, or emergencies happen, fires even happen. A lot of my friends who work in the hospital space, they say that the hospitals get busier because there can be that clouded judgment because the heaviness of the moon is impacting you. And this is the Piscean, so remember it's going to be extra shadowy, watery. And then this is the clarifying one that clarifies and brings everything up to a final head. And this is Wunyo reverse. Wunyo reversed. And so this is interesting because it is a clarifier of everything. So what I'm getting from this, Wunyo, when it's upright, normally means joy, happiness, clear, again, communication, and or just the ability to just like let something like water off a duck's back. You're all very clear and joyful, and all is okay. So at the end of the day, just be mindful of your conversations this week. Listen from a place of curiosity and compassion this week. Now remember, there is supposed to be sudden endings. So some of these earlier week conversations may be leading you to. So this is my advice I'm giving myself and I'm giving to you. So if you go into all conversations, maybe even thinking about it this way, like this, really look at this week as a week of personal development in communication, conversation, and relationship. Be curious, open, compassion. Do your best to not take things too seriously or too personally. And be unattached to the outcome. Because if you don't, there may be a lot of unhappiness, discord, dissatisfaction, inner turmoil, and maybe that's exactly what you need. Maybe as a result of these conversations, be ready and open. You may hear things that you don't want to hear. And if you do take it personally, or if you do take it seriously and it causes any kind of like inner turmoil or downward spiral, that's for you, by you. That's the shadowy waters of the Piscean eclipse. It's an opportunity for you to go inward and heal. Piscean energy is also about really going inward and reflecting and meditating, and so I would really encourage you to maybe as the weekend comes, spend more time in nature, spend more time by the water, maybe take an Epsom salt bath, really have your cleansing rituals ready for the full moon. I will talk about that when I do the second reading later this week. And just really, really nurture and nourish yourself. This could be a time where other people take things more seriously or personally that you say, since Ansu's and Wunyo were both reversed. It's a time to really be mindful of what you say, but just also know maybe no matter what you say, that other person is going to get triggered or have some kind of like negative reaction to you. And all you can do is you can't control other people. You can only control yourself. So comment below. I'd love to hear what you liked best about this reading, how this resonates, how this lands. I think I'll probably call the title of this reading is the Curious, Clear Communication and Reflection, because and last week's was about reflect, course correct. And so this is a great continuation of that, and really just making sure that you really are conscious and curious more than ever, so that you don't, if you do have a relationship end this week, or if you do have a conversation that goes sideways, just remember to go inward and reflect on what was my part inside of this. So if you want that other reading this week and you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can be notified of my next reading. I look forward to you. If you have any questions, again, email me info@magdalenagrace.com. And if you want to sign up for my newsletter or be a part of my WhatsApp group, you can also go to magdalenagrace.com. Until next time, everyone, here's to your best health, your best wealth, your best relationships, and I look forward to having you join me for that full moon in Pisces solar eclipse ritual.
Subscribe, like, and share with your friends. Hire Magdalena for a runes reading or healing session by emailing support@microdosingforhealth.com.